Today we are going to learn about the muscular tissues. Okay, so just tell me what are the different types of muscular tissues in our body? Different types of muscular tissues in our body.
Skeletal muscles, cardiac muscle,
And skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and
Smooth muscle.
nervous system,
smooth muscles. So
visceral
from
muscles.
where, so how many germ layers are present in our body? So the whole body is developed from three germ layers, right?
Three germ.
So what are the three germ layers?
Mesoderm, endoderm,
Ecto,
ectoderm,
endo.
endoderm, and mesoderm.
Mesoderm,
Mesoderm,
ectoderm,
endoderm,
and
mesoderm.
enteroderm. Okay, so from which layer the muscles are derivating or is developing?
Mesodermally.
Yeah.
Mesoderm. Mesodermally.
Okay. Okay. The cells of a muscle is known as myocytes or muscle fibers. Okay. So the muscle is made up of elongated muscle cells or myocytes or muscle fibers, and all muscles are developed from mesenchyme or the mesoderm, except three muscles. Okay. So the excepted muscles are erector pylorus, then muscles of iris, myoepithelial cells of gland, they are developed from ectoderm. So this erector pylorus muscle, where you get this erector pylorus muscle? They are seen in the skin. These erector pylorus muscles are seen in the skin. That may helps in the erector. When the erector pylorus muscles contracts, the hair follicles undergo straightening. That may gives you goosebumps appearance. Okay, so erector pylorus is seen in the skin, then muscles of iris, then myoepithelial cells of the gland. So these three muscles are derived from ectoderm, not from the mesoderm. Next, the types of muscles we have skeletal muscles, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscles. The skeletal muscles are voluntary in function because you can move as per your will. Smooth and the cardiac muscles are involuntary muscles. Next, what is meant by a myoepithelial cells? What is meant by myoepithelial cells? See, myoepithelial, the name itself, we just split the name myo and epithelium. Myo means muscle, muscle-like. And epithelium is epithelium. We already learned about some epithelium, right? Simple squamous epithelium, simple columnar epithelium, right? So, at the epithelium, it is actually an epithelium cells, but it is functioned just like a muscle. Okay. So, why it is functioned it as like a muscle? Because of the presence of some contractile protein in the form of actin filaments. Okay, commonly seen in a case of acini of glands. So we have different types of glands, right? We have neurocrine glands, holocrine glands. So we have sweat and sebaceous glands. Okay, so these glands, the functional unit is the acini. So the functional unit of a gland is an acini. So this is an example for an acini. You can see so many cells are present here, right? Right? At the base of the each cell, you can see small flattened or spindle-shaped cell, right? You can see it? So this pink one
Yes.
is the spindle-shaped cells. These cells are myoepithelial cells. These cells consisting of some actin filaments. So what will happen is that when these cells contract, the secretions from, you can see small green dots here, right? These secretions will be poured into the lumen of the acini. So that is the function of myoepithelial cells. So myoepithelial cells are spindle-shaped epithelial cells, but they function just like a muscle because they're consisting of some actin filaments. So once it undergoes contraction, what will happen? The secretions will be poured into the lumen. So from where the myoepithelial cells are developed? It is developing from the ectoderm. Okay. So what are the basic properties of a muscles? Basic property, they are irritability, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity. Irritability is because it is very sensitive to stimuli. Okay. So how it sensitive to stimuli? Once it gives any kind of stimuli, what will happen? The muscle undergoes contraction, that is known as contractility. So extensibility is once a stimulus is removed, the muscle fibers will be returned back to its normal position or its original length. Next is elasticity. Also, the muscles can assume the desired shape regardless of how it might be stretched or something. So these four are the basic property of the muscles: irritability, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity. Next is we are going to learn some detail about the skeletal muscle. Okay, the skeletal muscles is attached to the skeleton and it is made up of muscle fibers and connective tissues. So that you can see that a single fiber, okay, the muscle fiber is surrounded by a connective tissue which is known as endomysium. Okay, simple fiber is surrounded by endomysium. Like this, we have a bundle of fibers, bundle of muscle fibers. This bundle is covered by perimysium. So this single muscle fiber is covered by endomysium, and a bundle of muscle fibers are covered by perimysium. Just like that, we have a lot of bundles and the entire muscle is covered by epimysium. So you got the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So the
ma'am.
simple, the
Yes, ma'am.
basic unit of a muscle is a muscle fiber. So that muscle fiber is surrounded by endomysium. The bundle of muscle fibers are surrounded by the perimysium, and the entire muscle is covered by a epimysium. Okay, the basic cell is the muscle fibers or the myocytes. When it comes to the skeletal muscles, it will be multinucleated. Close striations can be seen and cylindrical in shape. So you can see in this picture, you can see that this is the histological appearance or microscopical appearance of a skeletal muscles. So this blue color is the uh, nucleus, which is actually peripherally placed, multinucleated, and it is cylindrical in shape. You can see that they never branch each other. These are some fibers are connecting to the another branch. Okay, that's it. Only the muscle fibers. Not the bundle will undergo branching. So this is multinucleated, cross striations will be present and cylindrical. And the nucleus is peripherally to the fibers, and the plasma membrane of a skeletal muscle is known as sarcolemma. So the terminology which is used to describe the plasma membrane of a skeletal muscle is known as sarcolemma, and the cytoplasm is known as sarcoplasm. All right. Then what is how you called the endoplasmic reticulum of a muscle?
Sarcoplasmic reticulum.
Very good. It's a sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Next, the myofibers. I told you, right, there will be a cross striation appearance in the case of a skeletal muscle. So these myofibers are made up of some myofilaments. Okay, so we have thin and thick type of myofilaments which are regularly arranged, which gives the skeletal muscles a kind of cross striations. Got it? So myofilaments are nothing but they are proteins. We have thick myofilaments and thin myofilaments which are arranged regularly so that it gives a cross-striating appearance to the skeletal muscles. So the thick myofilaments is made up of protein myosin. So thick is made up of protein myosin, and thin myofilament is made up of actin. And the thick protein myosin may give an appearance of darker band, and that is known as A band. And thin actin will give you a lighter band that is known as I band. All right. So thick, the protein name is myosin, and the band is A band. Thin is actin, made up of
दरवाजा
actin,
खुला
and
थोड़ा.
it is made up of I band. Okay, I band. So next, so how it is arranged? So this is a thick band which is made up of Which protein?
Myosin protein.
Myosin.
Myosin. And the band is
Darker
A
band.
band.
A
A
band.
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 A band. All right. This one is A band made up of myosin, and this is made up of actin I band. Okay. So at the center of you can see that in these areas, the I and the A band is overlapping each other. So when you concentrated on the center of the darker band, this zone is known as H zone. Okay, and the line which is drawn at the center of the darker band is known as M line. Okay, and the line which is drawn at the center of lighter band is known as Z line. So here also you will get an Z line. Got it? So this is the lighter band, and this is the darker band. The zone which is seen at the center of the darker radius is known as H zone. The line which is seen at the center of H zone is known as M line. The line which is drawn at the center of lighter band is known as Z line. So the area which is seen between the Z line is known as sarcomere. Okay. So the area which is seen between the two Z line is known as the sarcomere. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the sarcomere is the functional unit of a muscle contraction. So when the muscle contract, the sarcomere, the Z line becomes closer. So the area of sarcomere undergoes decreases. So the sarcomere is the contractile unit of a myofibrin. So the sarcomere is considered as the contractile unit of the muscle fiber. All right. Next, so this is here you can see that this is the darker band. This is the green one is the lighter band. So at the center you will get the H zone. At the line which is seen at the center is the M line. This is the Z line or the Z disc, which is the area which is seen between the two Z discs is the sarcomere. The sarcomere is the basic unit of contraction. During muscle contraction, there will be shortening of the sarcomere. The Z lines will become closer to each other. So when you see that in this picture, the muscle is in a relaxed position so that the sarcomeres are very far away. Okay. So once the muscle undergoes contraction, the sarcomere, they comes in contact each other and the area between the two Z line will undergo decreases. Next, what is meant by a rigor mortis? What is meant by a rigor mortis? So rigor
no
mortis, it is a stiffening of a voluntary or involuntary muscle after death. Okay, soon after the death, after 2 to 4 hours after the death, what will happen? The muscle undergoes a contraction form. Okay, so how that rigor mortis takes place? Actually, there will be decrease in the ATP during death, right? There is decrease in the energy or the ATP during the death. So what will happen when there is decreased ATP? There will be stop in transportation of calcium from sarcoplasmic and sarcoplasmic reticulum for the muscle contraction. Okay, so we know that after the death there is decrease in ATP. So there will be stop in transportation of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum for the contraction purpose. But when the cell undergoes death, the sarcoplasmic reticulum will be burst out so that it release large number of calcium into the cytoplasm or the sarcoplasm. Okay, so this calcium, the extra calcium that is burst out from the cytoplasm will, from the sarcoplasmic reticulum will go and bind into the actin myosin, and that may causes some contraction. So the contraction will be continue till the body undergoes decomposition. Got it? So this process is known as trigomotor. That means after the death, the body undergoes a stiffness. The muscle undergoes contraction. So we already know that the ATP is one of an important factor for the contraction of the muscle. But we already knew that the person is dead and there is no ATP in our body. So there will be stop in transportation of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum for the contraction purpose. But due to the death, the cell undergoes death and that undergoes a bursting of sarcoplasmic reticulum. So large amount of calcium will be released into the cytoplasm. So this extra calcium will go and bind into the actin myosin. So the muscle undergoes contraction. So the contraction will be sustained like that because in order to release also there will be a role of ATP. So the contraction will be continue like that till the body undergoes decomposition. Okay. Disappears and it completes. The rigor mortis will be start by 2 to 4 hours after the death. It completes after 6 to 12 hours and disappears gradually within 2 to 4 days once the body undergoes decomposition. So what is the importance of a rigor mortis? What is the importance of a rigor mortis? Is there any legal importance for any medical legal importance? Any medical legal importance for the rigor mortis?
Ma'am, for cadaver study,
Cadaver study.
Ma'am, it can be used to find out the time of the death.
It helps for to know about the time of the death, mode of the death, how the person died. Is there any struggle happened during the death? Is it a murder or anything like that? All this because based on the position of the your limb and all, the forensic surgeon can come to a conclusion that is there any struggle happened or anything like that. Okay. So the mode of death and the time of death can be calculated based on the rigor mortis. So this is an example for the rigor mortis here. The limbs are in upper position. So these are the clinical significance or the medical legal significance of rigor mortis. So next is about the type of skeletal muscle fibers. We have two types of skeletal muscle fibers, red fibers and white fibers. Okay, red fibers and white fibers. The red fibers here, the contraction is very low, but it's sustained for a longer time. That is a fatigue resistant. Okay, that means the contraction of the muscle fibers is slow, but it's sustained for a longer time without any fatigability. For example, postural muscles. The postural muscles can sustain its posture for a longer time without any fatigability. But in case of white type muscles, speed of contraction is very fast, but less sustained because it undergoes fatigable very fast. Okay, that is the extraocular muscles. The extraocular muscles are the muscles which are seen around your eyes. They undergoes contraction very fast, but they undergoes what fatigable very fast. Okay, that is known as the white type of fibers, otherwise known as fast twitch fibers, and the other is the slow twitch fibers. Okay, so we have red fibers and white fibers. So the red fibers, the contraction is slow. The contraction is slow and less fatigable. But here the contraction is fast. Please mute the mic. The white type, the contraction is very fast and it will be easily fatigable. Because in the case of red fibers, you have rich in blood supply. You have rich in blood supply. And here you have a poor blood supply. Okay, this undergoes aerobic glycolysis and this undergoes anaerobic glycolysis. These are the reason why it undergoes fatigable very fast. Okay, so just tell me the red fibers and white fibers. The different names of red fibers is the slow twitch muscle and white fibers are fast twitch muscle. Okay, the red fibers they contract slowly, but it's sustained for a longer time. It is less fatigable. Example, postural muscle. Why it is less fatigable is because it undergoes glycolysis aerobically. Okay, glycolysis is a one source of energy. It is undergoes aerobic glycolysis, and here there is large amount of blood supply. In the case of Y type, the speed of contraction is very fast, but they never sustain for a longer period because it is easily fatigable. Is because it undergoes anaerobic glycolysis. So lactic acid will be deposited so, and the less amount of blood supply is given, and examples are extraocular muscles. All right. Here the mitochondria is more here. Okay. Next, we are some terminology related to pinnate fasciculae. Fasciculae means the bundle of muscle fibers are known as fasciculae. And pinnate is based on the arrangement. You have unipinnate, bipinnate, multipinnate, circumpinnate type of muscle fibers are there. Okay, so these are the fibers. If you consider the arrangement of fibers just like a feather. Okay, if you consider the arrangement of fibers just like a feather, if you have a linear origin or a one half of the feather is present, then it is known as unipinnate. That means there will be a stem and only the half of the feather is present. These are the muscle fibers. These are the muscle fibers arranged like this. The muscle fibers will be arranged like this. This is known as unipinnate. Example, EDL, FPL. EDL means extensor digitorum. No need to mug it up now because these terminologies are new for you. So just go through the terminologies. Next is FPL is flexor pollicis longus. These are the small muscles which are seen on the forearm. Okay. So the arrangement of muscle fibers of these muscles are unipinnate. There will be a stem and the muscle fibers will be linearly arranged in the like just like a half of your feather. Okay. Next is bipinnate. Here the arrangement of fibers like a whole feather. The stem is there and the fibers will be arranged like this. Okay. Example is flexor hallucis longus and dorsal intrusive. So these are the two muscles which are seen in the forearm and also the hand. This is the muscle which is seen in the hand. So the arrangement of fibers like a whole feather, there will be a stem and on either side the muscle fibers will be arranged like this. Okay, it's clear, unipinnate and bipinnate.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we are going to know about the multipinnate. Multipinnate is the septa will be extended into origin and insertion like a many feathers. You can see that this is a one feather, this is another feather, and this is another feather. The feathers are so many feathers are put together just like that. The septa will be extended from the origin to the insertion. Okay. So one example for the multipinnate muscle is the deltoid muscle. The deltoid is familiar for you, I think. So this is a muscle which is seen in the arm. Next is circumpinnate. Here, the fibers will be converged from the walls of a cylindrical space to a tendon. So this is a cylinder. Here, the muscle fibers are converges. The septa will be converges and to the tendon. Okay. The example is tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior. So we have unipinnate, bipinnate, multipinnate, circumpinnate. Okay. Once you start your dissection or when you go deeper into the muscle, learn deeper more about the muscle, you can see this kind of the arrangement of muscle fibers. You can appreciate the arrangement of muscle fibers and can be classified into these kind of pinnate. Okay. So unipinnate, bipinnate, multipinnate, and circumpinnate. For the unipinnate, the examples are, just tell me, extensor digitorum longus, flexor pollicis longus. In the case of bipinnate, is this flexor hallucis longus and dorsal intrusion. Okay. Next, in the case of multipinnate, the example is the deltoid, and the circumpinnate, it is tibialis anterior, which is seen and the lower limb. So next is a gross feature of a typical skeletal muscle. Okay, so when the muscle contracts, one of the bone move relative to the other at the joint. We know that the muscle will be always, all the muscles, most of the muscle will be closest a joint. Okay, it will closest a joint. This is an example for the biceps brachii. So you can see that it is coming from here to here. So it is closing the elbow joint. Okay, so this is the origin of the muscle and this is the insertion of the muscle. So just remember that the most fixed or the stationary attachment is the origin and the movable end is the insertion. So when you take a muscle altogether, it has an origin point and insertion point. It originates from a particular point, it crosses a one or more than one joint and inserted to a particular point. So the inserting point is the point where it is always movable. The origin point is always a fixed or a stationary area. All right. So it's a great concept. Next, the thickened fleshy part of a muscle is known as belly of the muscle. Cord or rope-like fibrous part is known as a tendon. And the flattened sheath of tendon is known as aponeurosis. So once a muscle origin, then it forms a belly-like pattern and it forms a tendon. So the belly portion, the fleshy part is known as the belly of muscle. And this is the tendon where it goes and attaches to any bone. Okay. Then what is meant by aponeurosis is nothing but it is tendon-like, but it is a flattened sheath of tendon is known as aponeurosis. When you dissect or when you learn about the anterior abdominal wall, you can see instead of tendon, you can see a lot of aponeurosis there. We can see external oblique aponeurosis, internal oblique aponeurosis. So the aponeurosis is nothing but they are the flattened tendon, which is commonly seen in a case of anterior abdominal wall, and we have bicipital aponeurosis. Okay, so this is the belly of a muscle, and these are the tendon. Next is synovial bursa. Synovial bursa is that it is very evident that the muscle fibers will go for friction because of regular movements of the joints, right? So there is a chance for damage or injury to the muscle fibers. So in order to prevent this kind of injury, there are some small closed sac is placed in between the bone and the muscle, or in between the tendon and the bone. Okay, so these closed sac is filled with some slippery fluid, which is just like your synovial fluid. Okay, they are known as bursa. So actually the bursa is nothing but they are closed sac, which is consisting of synovial fluid or some slippery kind of fluid, which is seen in between the muscular tendon and the bone, or between the muscle and the bone, in order to prevent friction and also help for the free movements. Okay, in this picture, you can see that, see, this is a quadriceps muscle with its tendon. Okay, you can see this is the patella. This is the patella. Okay, so here you can see a bursa. This is a bursa. This is a bursa which is known as suprapatellar bursa. All right, and you can see a small bursa in front of the patella that is known as prepatellar bursa. Okay, and there is another bursa which is seen just beneath. This is the patella. Beneath the patella is known as infrapatellar bursa. There are different types. In this picture itself, you will get infrapatellar bursa, prepatellar bursa, and suprapatellar bursa. So they all help for in order to prevent friction and also help for the free movement of the joint and muscle. And the inflammation of bursa is known as, is there anyone know the name called to for the inflammation of bursa? It is pardon. So the inflammation of bursa is known as bursitis. Bursitis. There's somewhat a painful confusion. Okay. The nerve supply of a skeletal muscle. Hope you are with me. You are understanding what I am telling.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next is
Excuse me,
about,
ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, there's a question from previous slide uh,
Uh,
about the red fibers and white fibers. The red
okay.
fibers are like they are fatigue resistant. So, if comparing the sports person and a normal person, a sports person will have more number of red fibers compared to the normal person. But there is a possibility that the number of red fibers and white fibers can be similar in both the persons. So, is it genetic or it can just be generated by training?
Actually, the amount of red fibers and white fibers, you read from anywhere like red fibers are more in case of skeletal muscle. With the practice,
We had a
hmm,
subject, physical education. There we read that
okay,
number of red fibers are comparatively little bit greater in sports person as compared to a normal person. But there are possibilities.
is mainly because of the practice, and most of your bulky muscles are red fibers, like your postural, your limb muscles and all. Okay, they are never undergoes that much fatigability. In the case of sport muscle, they're using it very well, right? Frequently. Got it. So the mitochondrial level will be more for the red fibers.
Okay, ma'am. So is there a
Okay.
possibility that it can be genetic in much cases?
Genetic disorders, I want to refer it, but that doesn't, the athletic person, it is because of the practice. That never will be a genetic disorder or any genetic transfer to the next generation. There is nothing like that. But is there any disorders or a disease like that? I want to refer it. I'll clear it next class. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Nerve supply of a skeletal muscle. Nerve supply is a nerve and accompanying blood vessels will be enter into the skeletal muscle through a neurovascular hilum. So not sure that last class did I tell this. So hilum is a place where in any organ, if you say in the case of kidney, spleen, at any organ, the hilum is the area where the blood vessels or the nerve that is entering into a particular organ. Okay. So this neurovascular hilum of a skeletal muscle where the nerve and the accompanying blood vessels which are supplying to the skeletal muscle will be enter into this region that through that particular area. So one axon can supply several muscle fibers. That is the important point. A single axon, you already know about axon, right? A single axon can supply several muscle fibers. So the one motor neuron is the axon, a single axon with the muscle fibers which are supplied by that axon is known as one motor neuron. Got it? One motor neuron. A single axon plus the muscle fibers which is supplied by, there will be n number of muscle fibers will be there supplied by this single axon. That is known as a one motor neuron. So what will happen if there is any injury to this a particular single axon? If there is any injury to this particular single axon, what will happen? This one
Number of
motor
muscle
neuron
fiber
will
decrease.
undergo paralysis. Got it? That particular muscle fibers will undergo paralysis. So, when the precision of the muscle increases, the number of muscle fibers supplied by the single motor neuron will decreases. Got it? The precision increases means you're doing very precise kind of activity. In the case of your extraocular muscle, okay, extraocular muscles, these are very fine muscle. They're very small muscles. So they are doing very precise function. Got it? So when the precision increases, the number of muscle fibers supplied by a single neuron will be less. And if the precision decreases, like if it is a bulky muscle, then the number of axons supplying that number of muscle fibers will be more. Okay, so the precision increases, the number of muscle fibers will be decreases. Got the concept? And one
Yes,
example
ma'am.
is the extraocular muscle. Extraocular muscle. And the damage to that particular nerve supply that may lead to the paralysis of muscle. So, which which nerve is responsible for your facial expression? Your facial expression. How many cranial nerves are there in your body?
14.
How many cranial? 14, no, not 14.
12.
12 cranial nerves. From that cranial nerve, which cranial nerve is supplying your facial muscle? Which cranial nerve is supplying your facial muscle? Your facial expressions are responsible because of the innervation of your facial nerve. Okay, so the facial nerve is the seventh cranial nerve that is supplying your facial muscles for the facial expression. Okay, all right. So if there is any injury to the facial nerve, the facial expression will be gone. You will get a kind of masked face. And some other symptoms will be there. So what is the condition? What is the name of the condition? There is facial paralysis due to the injury or an infection to the facial nerve. Because that condition is was popular these days. Any idea? Loss of facial expression, mask kind of face. So what was the condition which is suffered by Justin Bieber these days? Hello.
Excuse me,
Ah,
ma'am, can you explain this concept once again?
this facial nerve, is that topic?
Yes, ma'am.
See, the facial expression is the muscles which is responsible for the facial expression is innervated by your seventh cranial nerve, that is the facial nerve. Okay, so if there is any injury to the facial nerve, that may lead to the paralysis of the face muscles that may responsible for the facial expression. So the patient will be complaining of a masked face. There is no expression. And some other symptoms will be there. So what is that condition? What is the name of the condition? Did you hear about Bell's palsy?
Ma'am, is
Bell's palsy.
Ramsay Hunt syndrome a different one?
Ramsay, no, yeah, it is a different one because it is associated with herpes infection. Okay. It is similar, the symptoms will be similar, but the etiology is different because there will be kind of a herpes infection will also come. Okay. But the
Okay.
symptoms and all these things, Bell's palsy is associated with that infection. That is Ramsay-Hunt. So Bell's palsy is the overall kind of a group of symptoms. We call it as the Bell's palsy because of the paralysis of the facial muscle due to the injury to the facial nerve. All right. So this is one motor neuron, that is one motor unit, because this is a single axon comes by innervating different muscle fibers. So this much muscle fibers is innervated by the single axon. So this is known as one motor unit. All right. So next is about the group action of a muscle. So prime movers, what is meant by a prime mover? They are known as agonists. Okay, prime movers are agonists. Simply bring the insertion near its origin. For example, biceps brachii. Biceps brachii. What is the function of a bicep brachii? Is it a flexor or an extensor? Biceps brachii. They are the flexors, flexor of the
Flexor.
elbow. So if you want to flex your elbow, the prime mover of that particular action is the biceps brachii. Then you can call this biceps brachii as the agonist. So which action is opposite to the flexion? Which action is opposite to the flexion? Is the extension. Is the extension. So which muscle is responsible for the extension? That is the triceps. Triceps is responsible for the extension. So if you want to flex your will is to flex your elbow, the prime movers will be, or the agonist will be the flexors. And the antagonist or the opposite muscle fibers will be the extensors. You got the terminology? You have agonist and antagonist. Your action is to flex your elbow. So the agonist will be the flexors and the antagonist will be the extensors. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. Then ulta, if you want to extend your elbow, so the agonist will be, you want to extend your elbow, the agonist will be
Biceps.
triceps, that is the extensors. And the antagonist will be
Biceps.
biceps or the flexors. So what will happen if you want to flex your elbow? The agonist will be worked properly and the antagonist will be, it will be masked like that. It never contracts. If antagonist also contract, what will happen? The person cannot flex the elbow. You got it? The antagonist produces the movement opposite to the prime mover. When the agonist contracts, the antagonist will relax. Got you? That if you want to flex your elbow, the agonist is the only muscle in the undercourse contracts. The antagonist will relax there. If you want to extend your elbow, the extensors will be contract. The flexors will undercourse relax. Got the concept?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next is about the fixators. What is meant by a fixator? That is, it contracts to stabilize the origin of a prime mover. We already learned that the origin point will be a stable point, a stationary point. The insertion point is the only point it undergoes movement, right? So you want to make the origin point fixed there itself. So some muscles will be held for that purpose, that function. They are known as the fixators. It contracts to stabilize the origin of the prime mover so that it acts very efficiently. You want to keep the organ fixed there so that the fixators will work properly. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Next
ma'am.
is another point is a synergist. Synergist is when the prime movers closes more than one joint, the undesired movements at the proximal joint is prevented by the synergist. For example, you can see that these are the muscles of your forearm. These are the flexors of the forearm. Flexors of the forearm. These flexors will crosses the wrist joint and it comes and inserted into the fingers. All right. There are some other flexor muscles in the forearm. They comes and reach only up to the wrist joint. And we know that the origin will be the stable area and the inserting point will be the movable point. So we have two types of muscles. Some muscles are going beyond the wrist joint and going attaches to the fingers. Some are up to the wrist joint. Okay. All muscles have only one function, flexion. So if you want to make a fist or if you want to make to flex your finger, is it possible without flexing your wrist? Is it possible if you want to fix your make a fist? Is it possible without the flexion of your wrist joint?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You can make a fist without flexing your wrist, right? You can make a fist or you can flex your fingers without flexing your wrist, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you got the idea. So that is possible is because of the presence of synergist. If there is no synergistic muscle, listen, if there is no synergistic muscle, when you try to make a fist, what will happen? Your wrist will also undergo flexion. This flexion is prevented by the synergistic muscle. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
This is a basic concept, that's it. I think you all get it. Because the unwanted movements will be avoided with the help of synergist. Because here, when you want to flex your fingers, the flexion of your wrist is an unwanted movement. That unwanted movement will be erased or it is controlled with the help of a synergistic muscles. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Next, muscles and their tendons crossing a joint provide a crucial support and stability to the joint. If the muscle is crosses medial side, the major function of that muscle will be adduction. And the muscle that crosses the lateral side, then the major function, it will be an abduction. I think that you all know about the adduction and abduction action, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So if it is going the medial aspect of the joint, then the major function will be adduction. If it is going, the muscle is closest the lateral side, then that will be the most
Abduction.
the movement will be the adduction. So that's all with the skeletal muscle. Next is about the cardiac muscle. So I'm not going into detail about the cardiac and the smooth muscle. We will learn it detail in the heart when we learn about the heart. Okay. So the cardiac muscle, the smooth muscle, the cardiac muscle is seen in the heart, that is in the myocardium. We have three layers. We have endocardium, myocardium, and pericardium. The myocardium is the middle layer, which is consisting of the cardiac muscle. So the striations, close striations are present here. They are involuntary in muscle. The cardiac myocytes is the cells of the cardiac muscle. The cardiac myocytes are the cells of the cardiac muscle. They are uninucleated. There will be intercalated disc. Intercalated disc is the disc that is formed when two myocytes comes and join together. So that region is known as intercalated disc. and the muscle fibers undergoes branching. So in this picture, you can see that these are the muscle fibers. So these are the muscle. We can see small striations here, right? You can see the horizontal striations are present, and the muscle fibers are branching each other. A single nucleus are present, and these are the intercalated disc. Can you see the intercalated disc here? Here, the two myocytes are joined together, so the thickened band here. So these are the intercalated discs. Okay. So the intercalated disc is a characteristic feature of a cardiac muscle.
इसके बाद जितने भी स्लाइड्स आते स्क्रीनशॉट्स लेते थे मुझे इसके बाद जितने भी स्लाइड्स आते
Next is about the smooth muscle. Smooth muscles are non-striated and involuntary in function. They are under the control of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve fibers. They are commonly seen in the walls of the blood vessels, uterus, and all tracts, that is respiratory tract and all. So the microscopically, they are made up of spindle-shaped cell. They are made up of a spindle-shaped cell. So this is a single smooth muscle with a centrally placed elongated nucleus. Okay, so you can see a spindle-shaped cell with a centrally placed elongated nucleus. Here you can see the smooth muscles. See, this is a single. This is a spindle-shaped cell with an elongated nucleus. That is a smooth muscle. They are non-striated and involuntary in function. So this is a skeletal muscle. They're cylindrical and they're unbranched with a peripherally placed nucleus, multinucleated. These are the spindle-shaped nucleus these are the smooth muscles with a single nucleus at the center, and the cardiac muscles are branched muscles with a single nucleus. They are known as the myocytes, and in between you will get the intercalated disc. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So last class, someone asked me about the achondroplasia, right? No, acromegaly, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Acromegaly is mainly because of the due to increased growth hormone, right? So there is, once your epiphysis closes, there is no change in the length of the bone. The acromegaly is happened only by the deposition, increased deposition on bone over to it, that the width is increasing. There is no increase in the lengthwise. Got it? So that
Okay.
may give you a huge appearance. Or acromegaly means the tip of the area will become very much larger. The acral part will be very much larger. So here there is no increase in the length because of the closure of the epiphyseal plate, but the bone deposition will be more. So the width will be increases. There will be frontal bossing and all. These are the characteristic feature of acromegaly.
Thank you, ma'am.
The maximum height will be attained before epiphyseal plate closure. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. So that's much for the day. I think just go and read the topic. It is a little bit concept oriented, basic concepts about the muscles, and the name of the muscles you will be familiarized when you go deeper into the subject. So just go through what are the pinnate muscles, what are the functions, difference between the red fibers and the white fibers. Next, the contraction sarcomere, all those things. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, where are you uploading all the PDFs, PowerPoint?
Just contact your coordinators. We send these PPT to them. They'll share to you.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.